Hey everybody, when I discovered Hex in 2012, we named it Mexican Offense rather than Hexagon Offense at the beginning. This was a suggestion from a player on the team at the time who thought that we should disguise the shape that we were running. So from my point of view, it's quite neat that Mexico are now playing Hexagon Offense, specifically the U20 Mixed Mexico team. They implement the principles pretty well. You can see here a classic move where there's a diagonal dribble across the field, which then is faked and reverses direction to slash back across the field the other way. These are the kind of moves that we're going to see a lot more of in the future when there's more than one dribbler on the team. For Mexico, they have Alenes, who is incredibly athletic, does excellent dribbling, and Rodriguez, also very versatile with his dribbling. So with two dribblers on the field, there's a lot more interesting quick flow moves that are possible. And they're generally pretty good at maintaining flow, keeping their shape and their spacing, staying connected and staying active, ready for the disc at any time, which leads to a lot of good sequences of play. The players and coaches mostly come from a club team called Baja Sunset, so they're able to train together a lot more than most teams to really learn those principles. They finished 10th, which is the best result ever for a Mexico team on the grass. We're going to take a look at a specific point where they face up against a handler-sag from Switzerland. But first, let's hear one of the coaches speak for a little bit whilst we watch some more footage of them playing.
So first of all, can you just talk to us about how the Mexican offense is playing through these conditions?
Okay, thank you very much for the interview. Right now we are doing some hexagonal. So we are doing our own job, the things that the coach, Camacho Solorio, is saying to the players. So the guys who is doing their work, so that's why we are doing a good job right now.
One to watch for sure, and the layout grab for the goal as well.
This point is interesting tactically, with a zone-type defense being played by Switzerland. Now Mexico aren't playing badly. They work the disc up to halfway in 17 passes, but what could they be doing better? So what Switzerland are doing is they have three women playing a sag at the front of the handlers from Mexico, and then their four male matching players downfield are marking one-to-one. This is really helping to stifle Mexico's flow and to stop them from working the disc through the middle of the field. So there's a few things that Mexico could do to counter this. The space they're being given is out wide and in front of the disc. So the players around the disc could either position themselves in these downfield spaces, forcing the defenders to either have to choose to mark them one-to-one or to sag off even further. If they receive passes in these positions, then they'd be connected to the rest of the downfield and they'd be making yards with each pass. Another way of using that space would be to sit back as they are, but then to aggressively look to attack forwards when they get looked at for passes. This can be moving forwards going out wide, or it could be moving forwards going towards the middle, but that's a little bit like running into the teeth of the defense. Another way to look at it is, imagine they're playing 3v3 in the back here. Like, imagine nobody downfield exists at all, and they just have these three players with three players sagging off, and it's 3 versus 3. Like, what would they do in that situation? What would it take this long to make that kind of yardage? What would it look like, especially on a field this wide? They only throw the disc through the sag once in this point, but they spend a lot of time looking downfield, and the downfield spend a lot of time moving around, cutting, trying to get free, and coming under. I think if they all just chilled and focused on the open players that are around the disc, then there'd be more space downfield for the players around the disc to run into. The downfield needs to just kind of hang back a little bit, let the handlers cook. Then the players around the disc, they should look to dribble a bit more as well, so always looking for the disc back. There's too many times when they catch it and look downfield for a second and they lose momentum. All these adjustments are just for efficiency. They make the right throwing decisions and they end up scoring with an Oyo, so it's a good point for Mexico. But it could be tweaked to be a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficient. There's a couple more interesting things about this clip which I want to touch on. The only pass that goes through the sag, there's a dribble opportunity immediately afterwards that's missed. if he had used throw and go technique to sprint across the field in this situation, he could have easily got the disc back and made an attacking move. When this pass goes through the sag, the defense switched to 1-to-1, and the male matching player at the back doesn't get the memo about getting the gender mismatches sorted, so he stays marking a female matching player. And the mismatch around the disc, she tries to initiate this switch manually, running away from her mark, calling and gesturing to the back of the end zone, but he doesn't see it, so they don't connect. She has to go back and mark the male handler type. And you wonder, how did Mexico not kind of punish that better? If you look closely, there's a couple of small things that just add up. One is the outwards turn here by the player catching the disc. If they had turned inwards, keeping the previous thrower in their sights, then that return pass could have been a little bit quicker. They could have run out of it, and more likely to have flow going in any direction, perhaps back across the field. And then just a little bit too much time spent thinking about downfield, like auto-faking downfield, when, in fact, if she had turned around and stayed connected with the previous thrower, they could have dribbled back across the field at that point as well. Or if he had accelerated out of his throw to get the disc down the line. So there's a few small tweaks that can be made. Overall, they do well. They finish the point with an Oyo over the short mark. Although all the decisions they make are good, they take all the safe passes and score, it's probably sensible to have another look at it to think, how can we be more efficient? You know, we should probably be working the disc up to halfway in 6 passes rather than 17 passes in that situation, and thinking tactically about what are the defense giving us, how can we use it to our advantage. Congratulations to Mexico on a top 10 finish. Don't forget, if you want training resources for how to develop the techniques and the skills and the drills needed to play good flowing offense, then that's available on our Patreon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon.
Incredible stuff by Ramirez to bring that one down. You thought the most impressive play was going to be Elenes getting up and getting the big time sky on Rosso. Debatably.